Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is August 3rd, 2024. My name is Leslie Williams, and this video is going to share some information that you, I'm sure, have probably never heard of before, because the associated crimes that are exposed online to be connected to the criminal program of gang stalking are not widely known, because the vast majority of Americans don't even know that gang stalking exists. So if you don't know about a subject matter, how are you going to get on the internet in order to research it, to become educated? So you need to listen very carefully to my statements. A lot of my statements are going to seem peculiar to you, at least initially, as a direct result of you not knowing about this crime. And by the way, why do you think my eyes look like this? That will be discussed in an upcoming video. Now, I don't wear sunglasses. It's only on an extremely rare occasion do I wear sun goggles, which are basically just swimming goggles. Okay, I was wearing sunglasses, just hear me out for a second, okay? At times when I was wearing sunglasses, it was only, like, say, when you go about your day and you go to different places, like grocery stores, maybe libraries, laundromats, bus routes or whatever, you're gone for like 9 hours. So out of that time period of being out and about in the community, I think my sunglasses were not on for any more than 15 minutes throughout the entire day. And so I just trust me when I say, and I only started wearing sunglasses intermittently, okay, like in the last year and a half. So we're talking about maybe 12 minutes out of every time I go out, yet my eyes look like this. And I got videos going all the way back to 2020, 21 at least, showing my eyes looking like this before I even ever bought sunglasses. So just stay tuned for some upcoming videos that will be made concerning related issues. Now, at any time when I'm making this video, if you end up seeing things like you just saw here a second ago concerning like an arc, okay, you can go back and watch this video, and when you see things like that, what you can do is you can take a snap screenshot and then zoom in on it. I'm not going to discuss that in this particular video, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you any supporting details concerning most statements. Just stay tuned to the account. Over time, you will understand much. Okay, now I'm going to share some information with you, and trust me again when I state that it's going to sound at least initially peculiar, and as a direct result, you're not going to be getting a lot of supporting details. With those two things combined, your brain might activate healthy, normal skepticism, and your brain might even say, well, none of this sounds like a subject matter that would interest me, so I'm not going to bother to research it. Obviously, that's your choice. But trust me when I say, folks, if you stay with this account and you learn more things over time, and if you do research what I state, I do think that your brain will organize the data, and you will come up with a, let's just put it, because I got to say things carefully, folks. If you knew what I know, you would absolutely understand that statement. Just trust me, your brain will organize the data. Your jaw will drop. I mean, just look at my eyes. Would you literally just look at my eyes? Do you really believe that's normal? Now, go into this account and watch many of my videos, and you will see incorporated within at least 40 of them, just related to this account alone, you will see many videos that openly show it being displayed, indisputable proof of the non-consensual, I gotta word this correctly, because at times I worded it differently, so sometimes the brain will try and look for the correct way to currently describe it. I do have what appears to be non-consensual. When I say appears, that's because I'm not exactly sure what type they are. They definitely appear to be cortical prosthetic biofilm, like crystal ocular islands implants that are placed criminally illegally in my eyes. And there are massive videos on this account that you're watching this video through that openly show them. When you bring those up, you're going to look at them and you're going to say within a split second that these are absolutely islands implants, and you will continue to believe it. Make no mistake about it. So how are they being interfaced with? Is it ultrasound or, well, that's all I'm going to say right now. But the other statements, I also got evidence concerning as well. Now, let me just discuss with you some information, and I'm going to present it in a metaphorical way. And if you knew what I know about this crime, you would understand that as well. So just bear with me, hold it tight. Let me set the phone down so I don't have to hold it constantly. And just bear with me for a second here. Oh my God. Now, I want to share some information with you. And so following following these statements in the way that I'm going to describe them. Okay, hold on, baby pigs. Hold on. Oh yeah. Just bear with me. We never can tell what a video might capture. We just never can tell. Oh yeah. Baby cakes and munchkin butts. Bear with me. Bear with me. Now, that's not the first time shit like that's been seen as well. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You would not believe what's going on in the hood. You literally would not believe it. Oh, absolutely. Now, the reason why this is moving around concerning what you're currently seeing is because I'm moving the phone around. So if I didn't move the phone around, where would you see it at? Would you see this thing you're seeing right now cover my entire head? You know, my fellow American citizens, and even if that's nothing, even if that has a normal, logical, actual, factual explanation concerning it, trust me, when you see the other evidences I got, they're completely indisputable. Oh, absolutely. So, here's the gist of this particular video. Do not walk away. Okay. You would not believe the crimes I'm enduring on a daily basis. They are beyond sadistically criminal. Oh, absolutely. It makes you even wonder. Well, I have literally even heard ex-NSA personnel call these people demonically possessed. Absolutely. Literally. Who, by the way, are also being targeted. Oh, absolutely. Hold on one second. What you doing out there, boo? Where are you? Hi, baby. Oh. Alright. So let's get into the meat and potatoes, baby cakes, and munchkin butts. Now, I'm going to want you to listen to something. And what I'm going to show you concerning what's on my head and the additional information. These, because remember, I'm going to be saying what I'm going to be saying concerning the information and how it's laid out. And you can view it as a story related to a metaphorical victim. Okay. So just, pay attention to my statements. Now, the vast majority of educated gang stalking victims are openly exposing the fact that they're enduring what is known as acoustic voice-to-skull technology. And voice-to-skull technology can be delivered through many different platforms and even acoustic technologies. There's more than one way that they can do it. The microwave hearing effect, non-consensual auditorial implants, which can include but not limited to bone conduction cochlear ear implants, regular cochlear ear implants, auditory implants that can be put directly on the eardrum, mid-brain auditorial implants, and you should also know that auditory implants can also be, concerning what's reported, can be put in the jawbone and even in the teeth. And this has even been discussed on national radio shows, folks. Make no mistake about it. So, again, remember what I said at the beginning of this video. You're going to be hearing information that you've never heard before. So, obviously, when you hear it for the first time, okay, and a lot of this is going to sound science fictionist to you, and other stuff will sound like it's way too hard to believe. And since you're not getting a lot of other filler information and details concerning why perpetrators would be doing this to begin with in this particular video, then you're going to walk away with holes in your understanding. That's absolutely understandable. But you got to understand, keep in mind, is that when I go to make a video, because of what I'm enduring on a daily basis concerning all the different types of targeting that I endure, I don't have time every day, and my health also doesn't permit me to make in-depth long videos so you can have an immediate thorough understanding once you get to the end of a video. Okay, so just pay attention. You're getting chunks of information. Research what I state, what I disclose. Over time, your brain will organize data, and then you'll have a more of a holistic understanding, comprehensive understanding concerning these issues disclosed. Anybody at any time can ask yourself, she's presenting a story in a metaphorical way, but is it possible that this metaphorical story could actually be related to a in real-time victim? And who might that victim be? Anyone at any time can read between the lines. Hold on. Now, and just because I have an intermittent comical posture, do not believe for 1 second that this is not an extremely serious video, because it is. Also, at all times and all dates, make sure you pay attention to any environmental noises that are occurring that I am not making. Any environmental noise. And then research that environmental noise concerning its description to gang stalking noise harassment. Except for birds. Even though I do got a video that's going to be coming up here in the future concerning, okay, concerning, what is that? What do you think that could be right there? I sure the hell would like to know. Even though I do got a video coming up here at some point in the pretty near future concerning, let me just put it to you this way, some information that I've seen online is by pretty credible targeted exposures related to the sounds of birds. Now, I definitely know that sounds peculiar, so I'm just going to leave that there, set it aside. You should too. Set it aside cognitively. Don't think about it. Just set it aside. Wait for those video exposures, and then your brain will say, okay, your brain will say, okay, you'll see it, okay? Now, so let me go ahead and get into the description, the subject matter of this particular video. Let's say if you got a gang stalking target who's absolutely enduring voice-to-skull technology. Now, you can endure, again, like I said already, you can endure voice-to-skull technology. You can endure it through one or more means, not just through one or more platforms, but for also multiple different motives. Acoustic delivery for piezoelectric transducer, conversion, sound to radio waves per implant that is put in a victim, so the victim can be literally cooked alive from the inside out. You'll understand that in depthly when you stay with this account. Trust me. Now, hold on a second. Oh, Lord, help me. Hold on 1 second. So just trust me, a lot's going on. So let me just talk to you about voice to skull. When you get on the internet, excuse me, and you research voice to skull technology and the testimony of gang stalking victims, the vast majority of the exposures are, and you got to really meticulously look for it, and you got to do in-depth research. The vast majority of what you're going to see is gang stalking victims openly stating that the demonic bastards who are doing this to victims, okay, are basically mentally battering, psychological battering the victim through harassing statements, demeaning statements, critical statements, and much more. And, that right there should immediately tell you that the host of this crime is nothing but an absolute psychotic rat who needs to be put in a federal criminal insane asylum and kept there for the rest of their little miserable lives. That will probably never happen, because this is a crime that protects itself, and most of the main perpetrators are massively not only protected, but they hide in the deep crevices of, well, concerning what's reported, the military and the intel agencies. Absolutely. Okay, no government on this planet will ever admit that it tortured tens of thousands of its own citizens, completely innocent people. They just don't give a shit. Okay? Absolutely. At all. Concerning what they do to any victim on all dates, at all times, anywhere. And that includes when they're set up for staged assaults, rapes, illegal incarceration in jails and psychiatric wards. They just don't give a shit. They're wild, foul animals. Every last one of them is nothing but a wild, foul animal. Absolutely. So always keep this in mind, folks. We're not dealing with decent, moral, upright people. We're dealing with criminally insane social psychopaths. Absolutely. So hear me out. Now, voice to skull can also be morphed into, well, voice to skull can also be used with voice to skull with voice morphing. And if I feel that it's necessary for me to talk about that in this particular video, then I will. If I don't worry about it, because other videos are upcoming concerning it. But it actually is an extremely sophisticated, it's a very, very relevant part of what is occurring to gang stalking victims concerning neural influencing, and the fact that voice to skull with voice morphing is absolutely being done to victims in order to set them up for brutal assaults, enslavement, all forms of human trafficking and racketeering schemes. This crime is it's literally an epidemic. Hold on a second. Oh, absolutely. It's literally an epidemic. Okay, but again, the vast majority of people just don't know about it because they don't even know gang stalking exists. You know? Oh, absolutely. So, all right. So, keeping this in mind, if you're enduring, so let's say you got a victim who's enduring uh, voice to skull through the microwave hearing effect, but they could also be enduring voice to skull because it's not. Don't ever underestimate these demonic bastards. And what I mean by that is that they know that they can perpetrate the microwave hearing effect, which is also called the Frey effect, Frey. They know that they can perpetrate voice to skull through ultrasound. Okay? They know that they can perpetrate voice to skull through non-consensual auditory implants. Absolutely. But what you got to understand here is that, say if they were only depending on the Frey effect, the microwave hearing effect, well, they also always knew that bone conduction technology, like bone conduction headphones, could massively interrupt that. They knew it. They also know that environmental noise at times can interfere with the victim perceiving the microwave hearing effect. Plus, they also knew that the microwave hearing effect can absolutely be interrupted by and through the target speaking, okay? Speaking, whistling, laughing, and humming, and singing. So they always knew this, because all those things are also internal bone conduction. So bone conduction basically means that what is happening is that the acoustic sounds perpetrated through the microwave hearing effect bypass the ears and go directly to whatever portion of the face and or skull bone, okay, that they're making sure that it goes through. Okay. Now, bone conduction headphones would interfere with this, and they always knew it, as well as they always knew the simple fact that the things I just said a minute ago, like the singing, the whistling, the humming, the talking, okay, the whistling, these things can easily interfere with the microwave hearing effect. Absolutely. Now, if you're a gang stalking victim, hold on. If you're a gang stalking target, you should also keep in mind that whenever they send voice to skull to you, whether it be in your own voice morphing, or through just in real time live people doing it, okay, and or you're put on an automated system, what you got to understand is that whatever they send to you, once they send it to you, your brain will process it at 20 milliseconds per second, which is why a lot of the subliminal influencing that can occur through voice to skull with voice morphing happens so fast, because it's subliminal, which means that it will get processed enough for your brain to distinguish it. You perceive it as an in real-time thought, and you can be absolutely influenced to act on it, okay? And it processes very fast. So, you got to watch your back. You absolutely got to watch your back. So, you got to watch yourself. You got to watch your back concerning what is done to you. If you're experiencing remote neural monitoring, voice to skull, as well as voice to skull technology and remote neural monitoring, one thing that you should always pay attention to is that one of the things this crime will attempt to do to you is get you to act out based on in real-time staged provocations, harassment, violence, and they will get you to, the goal will be to get you to act out at least verbally. Let me set this phone up so it's experience. Okay. So, one of the main goals of this crime is to set you up so they can enslave you. And in any and every way that they can possibly manage it. At all times, anywhere. You can go out about the community and lose your freedom that day. Absolutely. Because these wild whores don't give two shits about anything. They only care about power, money, and control and protection of what they do. Period. End of story. Okay? So if you're a gang stalking victim, and one of the ways that you can protect yourself from getting sucked into a drama is by buying one of those mouth protectors that football players use. And then, they're called mouth guards. And what you can do with a mouth guard is that when you buy it, okay, you want to take a thick paper towel, okay, and you'll know how much of it to use. You want to use a thick paper towel and fold it up, into a square that's about this wide, okay, and even a little bit smaller than the space you see between these fingers, okay. Then you want to wet it down, and you want to place it on your tongue, and then you want to put the mouth guard in, because if you're enduring remote neural monitoring, you better be damn sure at one point or another there's an extreme likelihood you're going to endure forced speech. Google that to remote neural monitoring and gang stalking. Now, and forced speech can work hand in hand with stimulated memory references, okay? And I'm not going to go into all that, but trust me, it's occurring. It's reported to be occurring. And in real-time simultaneous neural influencing through voice morphing, which means they're trying to influence your thoughts to get you to speak out, so then you get sucked into the drama, because the people they use will then react to your speech. Now, to avoid speaking out, your speech is connected to your jaw movement and your tongue. You can't talk if you got a mouth guard on you with a paper towel on your tongue that prevents your tongue from going up and down, which is responsible for the pronunciation of speech. Okay? So buy one of those from Amazon. You can get them for like $12. Paper towels paper towels you can get from any restaurant, or just one at home or whatever. Okay, or just use a cut off cloth from a t-shirt or something. You got to understand something about these. I know I keep saying it, but just trust me, folks. You got to understand something about these vile whores. They don't give a shit. They'll enslave you for their entire life. They don't care at all. They're animals. They're absolute animals. They're the worst of the worst. Absolutely. So you gotta. In order to effectively protect yourself, you got to become educated. Okay, so buy one of those mouthpieces. Fold up the paper towel in the way I showed you how, and then wet it down, because you don't want to put a dry thing on your mouth. It's going to be very uncomfortable. Okay, put it on your tongue, and then try to talk. You can't. And if any demonic bitch out in the community, some useful idiot, some punk, some lowlife, some homeless person, some whatever else, teenager, kid, punk, or anybody else tries to suck you into a drama, because they'll try and suck you into a drama to get you verbally to defend yourself. And that means anybody, employees at stores, bus drivers, passengers, anybody, because they will use anybody. In part, the gang of gang stalking. Literally, they will use anybody and everybody. They'll use your neighbors, they'll use kids, they'll use teenagers, adults, the elderly, homeless people. They will use anybody. And that is connected to the community-based gang stalking of gang stalking crimes. Okay, so they will try and accuse you of something. They will try and say you stepped on their toe, bumped you, or did something impolite, or said something when you didn't. The goal is to draw you in to get you to defend yourself verbally, so they can then draw you in more. Okay? Because there's a mechanism in the brain that's called the defense mechanism. And when your brain perceives that you are being falsely accused of something, okay? Oh, absolutely. When you're being falsely accused of something, your brain's going to go into defense mechanism, and it's going to immediately excite the speech center of your brain. Absolutely. While they could be hitting you with voice morphing. But to put the idea in your head about what to say in defense of yourself. But you see, you cut all that off if you just don't say shit. Now, it would be very easy for these demonic bitches to get you to stay stuff, because voice morphing is subliminal. So you'll just think it's an in real-time thought, reaction, and response to what they're fucking coming at you with. So put that speech guard in your mouth and do not reply. And if you got to walk away, walk away. And if they won't let you walk away, then carry a whistle and start blowing it. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Other people that will be in the environment that are not also props through this crime will start saying, hey, what's going on over here? You got to do everything you got to do to protect yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. These people are nothing but human traffickers, murderers, okay, enslavers. They don't give a shit. They're vicious wild animals. Okay, now let me get into the subject matter of this particular video. That's all they are. Okay, absolutely. So I want you to pay attention to something here. If you're enduring bone conduction voice to skull, these are a set of wired, you can't see them, I'll show them to you in a minute. These are a set of wired bone conduction headphones. You don't want to buy bone conduction headphones that are Wi-Fi, wireless, because let's just put it to you this way. I've seen the reports, they can easily be hacked by these demonic bitches. And so if you're using bone conduction headphones that are wireless and they can hack into them, they can then use that as a means for voice to skull and voice to skull with voice morphing. Make no mistake about it. Because think about this, a lot of the acoustic implants that they're putting in victims, where the victims don't even know they're there, are also Wi-Fi. And they're being used for bone conduction. And bone conduction is where the voice to skull with voice morphing is taking place at. But even though voice to skull with voice morphing can also take place through a non-bone conduction implant, auditory implant, absolutely, and through the microwave hearing effect. So you got to protect yourself. One additional way to break up voice to skull with voice morphing, which leads to artificial thoughts, which leads to neural implanting to get you to say something and or do something during a staged event, altercation, or even just discussion that will lead into a drama, that will lead into a staged event, is to do what? Buy a tape recorder and make a bunch of statements in it in your own voice. Like, I'm not going to act out. I'm not going to get sucked into a staged event. Ignore anything everybody says to you, unless you, like, go to a restaurant and got to order something, okay? And watch out for employees, because they'll suck you into shit, too. They'll tag team you with friggin' fake customers, absolutely. You better believe it, folks. Oh, absolutely. Research any type of business you can think of to gang stalking. The type of business and even specific business by their names, absolutely. So anyways, see, one thing you gotta understand about voice to skull with voice morphing is that it's, you know, this is concerning, all this is concerning what's reported. Voice to skull with voice morphing is where they can take your voice print, put it in a computer, compose a sentence like, I'm going to go to the Domino's, and then I'm going to go to the bank, and then I'm going to go to the post office. All right? And when I go to Domino's, I'm going to eat there instead of taking it with me. Okay? And then they transmit it either through the microwave hearing effect and or directly to an auditory implant. You think it's your own thought, and you go. And that's where they set you up. Or along your routes there. Or on your way back. Literally. I kid you not. Now, one of the ways that you can break up voice to skull with voice morphing, because you're hearing this shit in your auditory cortex, no matter how it gets through, bone conduction cochlear implant, regular cochlear implant, midbrain auditory implant, auditory implants in the jawline, cheeks, you just would not believe what's happening with gang stalking victims, folks. It's off the chain. It's demonic and criminal to the maximum extreme. Oh, absolutely. So one of the ways to break this up is to create an audio file with your voice on it. And your voice is saying, don't talk to anybody you don't know. Don't talk to anybody at all. Go about your day, get your needs met, go home. Okay? And just in other details concerning things to watch out for, like don't get into conversations with people about anything for any reason. And they'll create things to get you to converse with people, absolutely, okay? They'll create scenarios to get you to talk to people. And they'll act friendly, nice, okay? Don't trust that grandmother out there, folks. I'm telling you right now, because they will literally use anybody, okay? Literally, oh, absolutely. So when you're listening to the sound of your own voice on a tape recorder, what you got to understand is that your auditorial cortex, the auditory processing areas of your brain, cannot process the sound of your voice in parallel, which means that they can't get through voice to skull with voice morphing with the sound of your voice at the same time your auditorial cortex is processing your voice, because the dialogue is going to be different, and the level, the volume of what they're sending auditorily is going to be lower than what your tape recorder is playing. And so the brain, it's gonna massively interfere with the acoustic frequencies and their dedicated decibels of voice to skull with voice morphing, and your brain cannot process the sound of your own voice happening at the same time. It won't. So what it will do is it will follow the one that's the loudest. Do not trust anybody. If a fucking bus driver acts all nice to you and tries to suck you into any normal appearing type of conversation, just say, hey, look, I'm on the phone. Or just say, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm listening to something. I ain't got time, time to talk to you right now. Because you wouldn't have, oh, absolutely. Same thing with grocery store employees. Okay, laundromat employees, customers. If you smoke a cigarette, what they'll do is they know you smoke cigarettes. The host does. So he'll prop up some lowlife to approach you and ask you for a cigarette. And then when you say no, he'll go off on you. Okay? And if you say yeah and give him one, he'll look for another excuse to come and ask you a question about another thing. Okay? What they're doing is they're looking for, because the host knows you want to be left alone. So what they do is they stage dramas in order to make it appear that when the person goes off on you, it's because he took offense to something you said to him Okay, something you said to him. I've had dumbass skanks walk up to me. Literally, I've had dumbass skanks that were using this crime that would walk up to me, try to hand me money. I'm just sitting there minding my own business with brand new clothes on, fresh haircut. Okay, not obviously not smelling in any way. Okay, just sitting there minding my own business, looking completely normal like an average everyday person. The skank walks up to me and tries to offer me money. So what I did was I got up and just walked away. Didn't say a word to her. So the skank started following me. And then she started saying shit. Okay, which definitely sounded hostile. But you see, I didn't have to hear it. And the reason why I didn't have to hear it, okay, is because I was listening to an audio file with my own voice print on it. So that even blocks out bullshit they prop up through other assholes. Okay? Because see, what you got to understand, and there's much more going on concerning this shit. So if you don't respond to anything anybody is saying to you, and then they keep aggressively coming at you, especially if it's in a business, remember this. Businesses have video cameras. Okay? They also have managers, and managers should be sticking up for you if you're just minding your own business and in there doing business and not bothering a soul, and somebody's bothering you. Okay, and remember that whistle. Absolutely. So let's talk about, oh, absolutely. So let's talk about the goal of this particular video. If you're enduring voice to skull, you might be enduring it through not only just the microwave hearing effect, okay, but you can also be enduring it through a bone conduction cochlear ear implant. Now, wired bone conduction headphones can be bought from Amazon for 28 bucks. Absolutely. Okay? Now, you place them either on the ear or directly right by the ear, and you listen to an audio file. Preferably, if I were you, I would create a multi-tone generator audio file. And what that means is you can go to Google Play Store and you can download what is known as a multi-tone generator app. And that app, what it will do once you download it, is that it will allow you to create multiple tones. So you adjust the sound frequency for each tone, and their dedicated decibels don't go above 40 decibel wise, and don't go above 480 frequency wise. And create a bunch of different tones. Use the sine wave mostly, and maybe one or two saw wave, and then play each tone and record it. Okay? Absolutely. Because there's other things going on too. Auditory entrainment, much more concerning what these dumbass vile animals are doing, including ultrasound brain entrainment, which relies on specific frequencies and decibels. There's also wideband that relies on, which is torture through implants, a set of integrated implants that relies on sound to radio wave conversion. So if you're playing sounds that don't fall within their radio spectrum sounds, or I'm sorry, that don't fall within their sound spectrums, it's going to throw it off. Make no mistake about it, baby kicks and munchkin butts. So check it out. So what you got to understand about these, oh, hold on. What you got to understand about these sadistic animals is they count on and rely on your ignorance. Absolutely. I'm here to educate you so you're not. So you can buy one set of wired bone conduction headphones, 28 bucks, and take good care of them too. Create that multi-tone generator app audio file, but you can also tape record music, okay? I would suggest that you tape music without language, and you want to tape music that's healing. Just research healing frequency music. And be careful about what you pick too. Just trust me, stay with this account, you'll learn more over time, okay? Now, so what we got to do is then listen to these audio files through the bone conduction headphones, and then see how much you're still enduring voice to skull. So if you're still enduring aspects of voice to skull and or ELF broadcasting, which is the identical twin sister of voice to skull, which means you will hear sounds in your environment when nobody's there, including speech. Because one thing you got to understand about ELF broadcasting is that ELF broadcasting is identical to voice to skull, except that you will hear it in the environment at the same time you hear it in your head. Because they're just propagating sound waves in your environment, and they pop, and then whatever they want you to hear, you hear when it pops. But the auditorial system will process it in parallel. because of how fast the auditory system processes sound, 20 milliseconds per second. So if you're processing, the brain is processing auditory information at 20 milliseconds per second, when you hear what you hear in the environment, you're also simultaneously hearing it in your head. Okay? See, the filthy whores that host this shit, they know all this, and they heavily rely on your ignorance. So if you're hearing, if you were hearing Voice of Skull, and you put on these bone conduction headphones, and it breaks up the Voice of Skull, then they're going to instantly revert to ELF. Now the way to break that up is think to yourself, well, how am I still enduring it? Do I have more than one auditory implant? Or were they doing the original Voice of Skull through the microwave hearing effect, and now they're falling back on the bone conduction cochlear implant? Now, if this is not breaking that up, then what you can do is buy gum. Now, what happens when a person buys gum? What happens when a person chews gum? And you're gonna, my face is gonna look funny when I put this gum in my mouth and start chewing. I'm gonna look like a Smurf and Popeye combined. Just watch. Hold on. Because I lost my teeth. And how did I lose my teeth? Yeah, research that too. That being a side effect. Well, I'm just saying, you can research electromagnetic weapons and directed energy weapons torture and how victims are losing their teeth. So, what happens when I start chewing my gum when I'm not speaking, and even when I'm speaking, by the way? What happens when I chew gum? I'm just trying to make you laugh, but I'm aware I look like shit. Screw all that. It ain't important. What's important is what I'm saying. So listen carefully. Now, when I'm chewing gum, there are 4 things happening simultaneously. And what could they be? Well, you got bones right here, right by your ears. They're called, it starts with a T. I forgot the actual name of it. So this research what jaw bones move by the ears when you chew. And you'll find the name. I just forgot it. I got it written down somewhere. Okay? So as a result of this jawbone moving up and down, part of its noise goes directly into the ear. You also got 3 main muscles that vibrate and move in the ear when you're chewing. So what happens? The ear processes that sound while the bone is moving, interrupting additional bone conduction. And if you got any type of auditory implant on the eardrum, or even just regular cochlear implants, or even bone conduction cochlear implants, what's going to happen here is that this, and you want to put a little bit of wet tissue in your ears, not deep into the ear canal, because you want to be able to get it back out. Okay. You want to also put just a little bit of tissue in your ears after you wet it. You wet it to mold it, put it in your ear. And then as a direct result of that, when you chew, those jaw bones go together. You hear that movement around in your ear. That interferes with what they're sending to the ear, either through a sound processor from a cochlear implant and or an auditory processing and or an ear implant that's directly on the eardrum, and you might even have auditory implants in your jawline. Okay? Now, what happens here are 4 things. The 3 muscles in the ears start moving, and even a membrane called the tumbar membrane, I think, also starts moving. And this creates an internal noise within the ear canal. That interferes with what they're sending to the ear canal. So that becomes the predominant noise. Plus the jawbone moving is heard in the ear. So that immediately gets rid of ELF. Especially the jaw, because you got I forget how to pronounce it. The tumbar bone in the ear. Then you got the 3 muscles in the ear rubbing up against the tissue. That's creating a small swishing sound. And it's not aggravating either. And it's not mentally distracting either. Okay? And then you got this bone right here that moves up against the ear when you're chewing. And you can program your mind unconsciously to just chew without thought. That's right, baby cakes. See, I look at it this way. The vile whores are using sound and they're using electricity to target victims. Brutalizing the victims out of existence. Okay? Absolutely. Brutalizing them, going after them mentally, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, their health, their mind, their body, everything. Because they just don't give a shit. They're vile animals. So if they're using skin conduction, because part of a bone conduction can even be skin conduction, then what you're doing is you're also, there's many things in play here. So what you want, and by the way, try to keep your skin dry concerning moisture on it. Because if you're also enduring directed energy weapons and or electromagnetic weapons, electricity and the energy will absorb faster to get to implants and organs and stuff if you got wet skin, because wet skin is conductive, which is why you can get electrocuted if you are standing in water and there's a down telephone wire or electrical wire anywhere around you. Absolutely. So you don't want water on your body. Drink a lot of water, but don't let your skin get wet. And these assholes will also do things to, when you go out and about in the community, if you don't have a car. Yeah. You ever wonder why MTS maybe took a bus stop away from me? A temporary bus stop away from me? What have I been through as a direct result of that? Okay. Well, the least thing that I've been through is I'm sweating my ass off by the time I get to the other bus stop. And this has been even reported on national radio shows that a lot of the implants and other weaponry that they're using on gang stalking victims is a lot more effective when your sweat glands are in overdrive and when your skin is wet. These are vicious animals, folks. I keep saying it because it's the truth. They will go to any and all lengths, and they'll use anybody for it. And most of the time when they're using community members, doesn't matter if it's an employment description or just your regular useful idiot or lowlife. Okay, everybody that is used by the satanic filth that hosts this crime serve a function for the satanic filth. And the people that they use will fall back on normal appearing excuses, reasons, or mishaps concerning why something's being taken from you, why something's been happening towards you. Okay. Oh, absolutely. Let me give you an example. Say if you're enduring color coding connected to gang stalking and you go to get on a bus. And when you go to get on that bus, once you pay your fare, like, so this is the doorway of the bus, and you walk through it, and you stop right here to pay your fare, and then you turn this way to go this way, to then stop and stand right there with your face then facing a window this way. That way your face is not facing forward, and it doesn't have to face any other passengers who are wearing color coding or carrying color coding. So you're facing and looking out a window now. Okay? Well, if the filthy whores who are managing this crime have propped up a lowlife to put a color-coded bike on the bike rack in the front of the bus, well, then the bus driver, all he's got to do is say, you got to stand behind the yellow line. So once you stand behind the yellow line, you are now forced to face forward to see that color-coded bike. Or you're forced to stand right next to a thug, a punk, or a color-coded asshole. And I already know it's reported that color coding is directly connected to brain-to-computer interface feedback loop, where they can then, the color goes to them on remote neural monitoring, and then as soon as the monitor on their remote neural monitoring distinguishes it, it immediately sends back to the victim voice-to-skull with voice morphing concerning how they want the victim to act out when one of their stage props on the bus or at the bus stop or along your fucking route. Okay. Basically, they're influencing your thoughts concerning how to respond to somebody who accuses you of something or says something to you or whatever. Okay? Color coding, sound harassment, physical gestures, okay, repeated identical behaviors that have at least one attribute to prior events that have been propped up through this crime. It's reported to be all about the brain-to-computer interface, which is remote neural monitoring for the computer-to-brain feedback loop. So what you see and or hear goes to them. It's distinguished by the computer. It's been pre-programmed to send back to the victim, influencing so the victim acts out on it. They get set up, and there you go. And this can be accomplished through eyelens implants, ear implants, and other types of implants, including in the legs, arms, elbows, hands, wrists, fingers, knees, ankles, feet, toes. You would not believe what's going on, folks. You literally would not believe it. Hold on. So these sick, vicious animals, they will depend on every resource that they can depend on to remotely interface with the victim to get you to act out to set you up, while you can't prove none of it because they don't allow you to... They don't allow you to prove the implants through hospitals, medical centers, and even private practice doctors. You should also know it is becoming increasingly reported that insurance carriers, public through the state, federal government, or even private, can be brought on board to make sure that you don't see the right doctor and you end up just seeing the doctor they want you to see. That can be dentist, any type of doctor. It's organized crime in the system. tentacled into every aspect of society. I mean, public transportation services are part of our society. If they can use bus drivers and fake passengers to set you up, boom, they got you. They can use library personnel to set you up with fake library patrons. They got you. Same thing concerning restaurants, grocery stores, laundromats, walking down the street, gas stations. The gang of gang stalking, folks. So, you put these on, you chew the gum, you put the little tissue in the ear safely so you can still get it back out, and so plus so you don't get ear infections. And then if I were you, I'd buy a second set of wired, okay? That means that no Wi-Fi, okay? Wired bone conduction headphones, and put a second set on, okay? Absolutely. You put a second set on, now you're hearing two different tape recorders with a bunch of different sounds, whether it be, you go out and about in the community, you want to use, I don't know if you want to use bone conduction headphones or not. It might not be a bad idea, but make sure you listen to an audiophile with the sound of your voice that gives you instructions about what to do and what not to do when you're out and about in the community. And remember, they will still try and suck you into events. They'll draw you into long conversations that force you to reply. You take the mouthpiece out, then the drama escalates. And everything that's coming out of your mouth is either forced speech or because you've been influenced through voice to skull, voice marketing. These little fucking maggots know what they're doing, and they know what they need from you. So at any time, anybody can go back and watch this video, and they can listen carefully to what might have been caught being said in my environment when I stuck this up to my mouth to light it. You know what's been caught on 9,700 audio files? Okay? Gang stalk, suck dick, oh my god. You either light a cigarette, you put it up to your mouth, and you hear somebody say, suck dick. While your hand is in the cup position, putting it to your mouth. And they'll bait you to talk about it, too. Because think about it, even if they were to prop up those types of words and phrases as a metaphorical example, let's say if they were to prop up those kinds of words and phrases to be said through ELF and you perceive it to be physical people in real time, that's not to bait you to talk about it because they know they're propping it up through ELF, therefore they know it's not recordable by the phone app, the audio part of the phone app, but you think it might actually be physical people because they propped up physical people on so many prior dates, you catching it on tape, you think in real time that it's physical people when it's actually ELF. They're baiting you to talk about it, you talk about it, the audio part of the camera app doesn't pick it up, people when they're listening to it go back to listen for it, and or if it is real people, they can even go into your account and edit it out. I kid you not. You would not believe what this crime has done. Hold on. You should also pay attention to, consider this. The vicious whores who host this crime, they know that when a person is talking, the speech goes to the bones. That would interrupt any in real time influencing through voice to skull. Okay, and voice to skull with voice harassment. But you should also know the phonetics of speech is widely becoming more increasingly reported to be connected to wideband sound, including speech, to radio wave conversion through a piezoelectric transducer so that when the sound of the speech is processed, it gets converted from sound to radio waves through the piezoelectric transducer, and then the radio wave is sent to an implant. Have you ever noticed in any of my videos when I'm between words, when I'm lighting a cigarette, I ain't talking? When I'm between words of my speech, you might hear a motorcycle. Okay? Hold on a second. Alright, hold on, babies. My birds are here. Absolutely. Okay. So, because remember this and remember this always. It only takes 20 milliseconds for any sound they're propping up through any means to be processed once it's heard. 20 milliseconds. So how long does it take? You compare 20 milliseconds in this time rate to how long it takes for you to pick up a cigarette, put it to your mouth, pick up a cigarette, put it to your mouth, and you hear something in the environment. And wait till you see some other upcoming exposures, your jaw is going to drop. See, what you got to understand about gang stalking crimes, let me give you another example. And this is going to sound a little funny, but hold on. I got the PDF files to prove it, baby cakes. Oh, absolutely, and much more connected to it. Hold on. They can also mentally bait you to talk about this through voice morphing because they know what you know as a direct result of their covert cyber surveillance. So if you find something on the internet, whether it's related to you specifically or not, excuse me. Let's say if you find something on the internet, bear with me a second, I gotta feed my birdie. Come here, baby. Go get it, girl. Go get it, babies. And little boo-boos. So, and, oh, yeah. Go get it, munchkin butts. Go get it, girl. Hold on one more second, okay, folks? Oh. Let's say if you're a gang stalking victim who's got a non-consensual, and this is going to sound bizarre to you, trust me, I know how it's going to sound, but listen closely. Let's say if you're a gang stalking victim who's got a non-consensual neuroprosthetic implant in you, including ones that are connected to speech, to arm movement. Right? So let's say if you're a smoker. Let's say if you've been a smoker for 5 years and you smoke at least 3 times a day. Now, excuse me. You should also know that neuroprosthetic implants you can also have a neuroprosthetic implants right in your primary or premotor cortex. Neuroprosthetics. So, now, let's see if you got either one of these or both. As a direct result of you being a smoker for 5 years, even just a year, and you smoke 3 cigarettes a day, when you lift up your arm to reach for your pack of cigarettes, okay, to take it out, okay, to put it to your mouth, to light it in the whole 9 yards, what's happening here? Well, what's happening here is that a population of neurons is firing. And when you do the same exact identical behavior, you got an auditory instruction to get the cigarette, voice is called with voice morphing. Okay, then they control the arm to pick it up, take the cigarette out, put it up to the mouth, because how can they do that with the neuroprosthetic implant? Okay, especially if you got a literal, in real time, internal neuroprosthetics. And when I make another video, you'll thoroughly understand this, trust me, folks. The wires and leads that can be connected up to here that go into the neck. Then you got a device here, and then you got a bunch of wires that go into, okay, the arm, the side torso, probably even some in the back and front trapezoid muscle, and the side torso muscle. Make no mistake about it, folks. It's why it's becoming more increasingly reported to be happening in the hood. Okay, so consider this and consider this well. You're a smoker for 1 year. You smoke three cigarettes a day. Every time you engage in an identical to a T limb movement of reaching for the cigarettes, picking it up, taking the cigarette out, putting it to your mouth, lighting it up, and then the action of taking it back and forth when you're smoking a puff off of it, these create identical limb movements to identical fired neuronal activity, which means that there's a population of neurons dedicated to that action alone. And the auditorial instruction to do it can easily be achieved through voices called voice morphing. Okay? Where they literally can then turn around and control both. Because once they've identified that population of neurons, they can stimulate them. Absolutely. To get them to reprocess simultaneously as they're using the voices called voice morphing. And you just think it's your own thought to pick up a cigarette. Okay? Hold on. Literally. Now, why would they do that? Is it because they would want to prop up somebody to say suck dick the second you put that cigarette to your mouth? And is it also, because that's subliminal programming, is that for later in real time cooperation for when they really start human trafficking you? Think about it. You put your hands to your mouth in a cupping position while somebody's saying suck dick. What do women do when they're giving men oral sex? Okay? These are vicious bile animals, folks. You better understand this right now. And this subliminal programming, the voice is called force morphing to get you to do it, and then the population of neurons of the arm and limb movement to do it, These can all be programmed to the unconscious and subconscious mind. Yeah, like these are literal natural noises. Hold on. So what needs to be understood about these vicious bile animals is that they know when you go to lift up a cigarette to put it in your mouth, it interrupts your speech. Hold on. It's going on 6 o'clock at night, 6:30. So do you really honestly believe there's any honest, okay, public work jobs occurring anywhere on or around this property, especially right by me? Of course not. Alright. So what you need to understand, folks, is that do your research. Do your research.